So it's been a few weeks since we've had one of these Zooms, and I just want to catch up real quick. So what we try to do is the last week of every single month, we try to do a live training. All right. So in June, we had Josh Sigmund come in for the second time. We did a Facebook Live, which is posted in the Productive Agents. A lot of great information was shared. Some of you were there in person. Hopefully, you got a lot out of that and enjoyed that. He's a wealth of knowledge there. And then the first week of July, I guess that was sort of last week, maybe. Yeah, that I closed on my house. So I was kind of tied up last Thursday at 3 p.m. Signing papers, and we moved into our brand new house on Friday. So that was super exciting. But if you've ever moved into a house or new house, there's a lot of shit to take care of. It's like, oh, I got to get this lined up, got to get that lined up. And we finally got kind of everything settled in yesterday. So I'm kind of back at it today, and I'm excited to be back doing these weekly trainings. So let's get started. We're talking about return of the open house. If you've been kind of in the real estate game for the past year or so, open houses were very scarce because of houses going so quickly off the market, right? A new listing would go live on a Thursday, and then all of a sudden it would be gone before you could even get to Saturday. All right. So it'd be gone in a day or two under contract. So there wasn't any point in hosting an open house. Well, now with the interest rates going up, all right, things have slowed down a little bit. I don't think they're coming to a stop. All right. But the houses are sitting on there for at least a weekend typically now, maybe going even on 2 weeks or a little bit longer. So now we have opportunities to get out there and actually host open houses and meet people face to face that are potential buyers, right? So I did pay for movers, Jason, and I had a great experience with them. I'm going to mention them. First responder movers are awesome. Ex-military guys, firefighters, very reasonable rate. I got like 3 or 4 different quotes, and I highly recommend them. They did a great job. By getting me off track. So return of the open house, I'm seeing a lot more in my email. I see a lot more people mentioning that they're hosting open houses. So we want to talk about that. We've talked about that this past year. If you go back in the video recordings, you'll find something about open house. So this is kind of the second version of that. Some of it will be kind of a repeat. Some of it will be kind of fresh, new take. So let's jump in. But before we do so, let's celebrate some wins. So who has a win to celebrate and to be recognized on here? Clay, I think talk to us a little bit about your experience with open houses. Were they good? Were they right? Well, how were they? And it sounds like you possibly have a client lined up.
Yeah, so my first open house was it was a bust, and I kind of knew it was, and just kind of felt like the house was overpriced, but I took it anyway. And then my second one last weekend I did Saturday, Sunday, was awesome, and I had like 15 people, couples through on both days, roughly. I used the KV Core Home app, which was helpful because everything can feed into your KV Core. And I got an older couple who sold their house last year, who is all cash. They're not ready to move yet because they're renting right now, but they're just kind of looking. So they're kind of warm, but they are looking. So they're going to be really good. I talked to them this afternoon, and then I have so there's three sisters that live here in town, and the brother lives in California, wants to move here, but doesn't want to be in the same neighborhood as his sisters. So they came by, stopped by, saw the house. I told him, I said, do a FaceTime with him and let him walk through the house. And they did that. And they love the house. and they're in the Bay Area. And their house goes on the market on Monday, and they just kind of want to get their house on the market first, and then I think they're gonna potentially houses are still moving pretty quickly out there. So hopefully they'll get their house sold pretty quickly, and they're gonna. I hope within the next 3 or 4 days we'll be able to make a all cash offer for this house here in San Antonio with them. And so I think I'm sending over the contract to sign to be their agent today. So
Cool.
yeah.
That's really cool, man. So really, you've been doing like 2 weekends of open houses. So I'm,
Yeah, this will be my third. I'm going to do the open house on Saturday, the same one we did last weekend.
yeah,
This house is like immaculate. I mean, they're a military family,
yeah,
and it's like walking into the showroom.
yeah,
It's spectacular. I'm surprised that nobody's made an offer on it yet right now.
right, yeah. Well, that's
So
awesome, man. Well, congratulations. Best of luck with that. I can't wait to hear the closing and finish the deal there. Uh,
yeah,
Thanks for
thanks.
sharing, man. Christina, you got a payday today or coming soon, right? Closing.
Heck yeah, closing should be happening right now. It's remote, so I don't actually know when it's happening. They said it got moved to this afternoon, so I'm just like, all right, when's that paycheck gonna hit? So that's awesome. I got my $200,000 budget client under contract and out of option.
Yeah,
Been my client for 7 months. We've seen 70 homes, written almost 20 offers. It was insane, but we are like on our way to closing.
yeah,
Uh, good stuff from the lender so far. Everything looks like it's going pretty okay. So
good.
2 wins, 2 big wins there.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Sarah, so how far along are you in the courses?
Right now, I'm working on the fifth course. I think it's
Wow.
the finances one. So I'm almost done. I'm just trying to wrap them up this summer, so that
Yeah.
way I can get going like right in August. So I'm working real hard to like just finish that stuff up. I was gonna ask like how like in your experience like with what she was saying like how long it's taking to close something like what's like the normal or I guess nothing's really normal but what's like the average kind of span because you don't want it to drag on too long. You know what I mean? So.
That's a great question. And man, I've had a wide range of experiences, and it just depends on each one. Each one is its own story. But I've literally had somebody go, "Hey, I want to go look at houses this weekend," and we write a contract, and it's done, and like we close in a month. That's an ideal situation. And then I'm still sort of kind of talking to people over a year later. Now I'm not showing them houses consistently. So I would say once I have somebody that's okay, I'm looking at houses actively. Oh gosh, I would probably say within a month or two is what average would be.
Okay.
And then once you get it under contract is another month until closing and payday. All right. So that's kind of, and they do say National Association of Realtors, I believe, says 3 months is typical for you to get your license and get your first closing. So that's kind of what to expect once you get licensed. So yeah, it just all depends on every client is at a different stage, and for you to kind of do your due diligence and go like, okay, these people are interested, but they're not like ready to go look at houses right now. And then once they're looking at houses, then there's kind of a procedure of like, okay, we're going to look at 3 or 4 houses a day and no more, depending on the situation. So just depends. Christina had bad luck, but she worked through it. I've been there. I've had several of those. And some are real easy. They all
Well, I'm still pretty new at this, so I'm not sure what's good or bad quite yet. So
yeah. They all balance out. Sometimes the headaches aren't really worth it, but then you get like a big, easy payday that makes up for that headache. Yeah. So
Yeah, and also like this client was 7 months and a lot of houses, which I think is extreme, but I really like him as a person.
sure.
If I didn't like him, I probably after 3 or 4 months would have just been like, hey, I don't know if we're the best fit. I might, would it be okay if I refer you to a friend, someone that has more time for you, something like that. But I do like the guy. So that's why I kind of stuck with it. And
Sure.
hopefully we close in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you will for sure.
Oh, thanks, Tony.
Well, cool. This is how are we doing? We've already kind of been chatting back and forth. Everybody, hopefully everybody's doing all right. I'm getting back in the swing of things. It's funny is I'm at the title company that I'm always working at, and they're like, "Hey, slacker," and they're like, "It's finally you're back doing some work." But hopefully everybody's doing well. And the 4th of July hangover, maybe some of us are still getting out of. I got a chat here. Hello, Professor. Hello, Dr. Ragsdale. So let's just jump into our stuff today. All right, these are our goals for today. We're going to talk about how to find an open house. All right, that's super important, and I'll share a story here in a second. How to secure the open house. All right, things you will need for an open house and what to do at the open house. And I like saying open house, obviously, a lot. And how to follow up after the open house. All right, so these are all kind of the basics of what to do. Now, let's see which one is this. Yeah, we'll get to that. So my experience with open houses and why I'm a big proponent of them. When I first started, and when anybody first starts, the first step to getting into real estate is to build your database. And your database is just a fancy word for all the people that you know. All right. So you have a list of your database, and I was deathly afraid. I still do have a very large database because of all of my teaching and growing up in San Antonio and all the people that I know here. But I was deathly afraid to talk to those people and ask for business from them. For whatever reason, that just scared the hell out of me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go meet new people at open houses. All right. And it didn't scare me to take up 3 or 4 hours of my Saturday when I was used to a 24-hour competition day with marching band. All right. So I was just like, this is nothing. You mean I get to do breakfast and dinner with my family and meet new clients? Sign me up. I'm all about it. All right. So I'm also pretty good at face-to-face interaction, meeting new people, connecting with them, and feeling comfortable in conversations. So it just came kind of natural to me. In my first year of doing real estate, I met 171 new people from doing open houses. And so I did quite a bit. And now those people and their contact information is in my database. And I've closed a handful of them. If I knew what I know now, I probably would have closed a lot more business from open houses, but I was still in a learning phase of how to do it, how to be consistent with follow-up, etc. I guarantee you, if Clay keeps doing his open houses like he's doing, just his knowledge of his past and how to convert and how to talk to people, he's going to be very successful with it. And any of y'all that choose to do so. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you a little bit back and forth with MLS, how to pick an open house. This is super important. Okay. I will never, probably to the day I die, forget my second open house I ever did. All right. My first open house, I don't remember, but I do remember let's take that back. My first open house, I didn't have any open house signs. So I literally borrowed signs from other agents. Jim Ragsdale's on here. He's borrowed signs from me. All right. I borrowed signs from Mark Chambers or Alan Grulick. So don't let the fact that you don't have open house signs hold you back from jumping in. I do remember my first 2 weeks. I was licensed on July 4th of 2019. I want to say it was like a Tuesday. All right. And that first Saturday, I was doing my first open house. I had gone to some trainings and I had kind of, something like this, like, oh, this is how I do it. These are the questions I ask, etc. I just jumped right in. Didn't really know what the heck I was doing. All right. But did it anyways. And I'll always remember this. And I think I've told Christina this since we talk quite a bit on a daily basis, is that it really doesn't matter what kind of action you're taking. as long as you're taking some kind of action. Like as long as you're working on the business in some sort of way, it is going to reciprocate itself and you're going to get some type of business going. All right. But it's when you're literally not doing anything with your business, from social media to open houses to talking to people to whatever. All right. When you're not doing anything, it's not going to reward you. When you're doing anything slash something, it will reward you. All right. So I did my first one. I don't remember much of it. My second one was on my birthday, July 20th of 2019. And I had two people show up, and one of them was my mom. And I learned very quickly from that. I was like, well, that was a shitty location to host an open house. So location, location, location is one of the main rules of real estate, right? Oops. And that's what we're going to talk about here, how to pick the open house. I got some of this from my mentors. Alan Grewlett kind of talked to me about how to do some of this, but single family homes, preferably new to the market. So let's look at the MLS real quick. And we're going to go to search. And I hate the new setup. So I go to the classic. And then we're going to change this drop down menu to only new houses. Okay. Going back to our list. We want to find houses that are in our area that we're interested in selling, or that are close to where you live. All right. So what I mean is I go to areas here, and here's a map of San Antonio, downtown, North Star Mall, Alamo Heights, Churchill Mac, Stone Oak, Johnson, etc. All right. These are the areas that I'm most familiar with because I grew up right here. I taught for a decade right here in the Churchill zone. I lived downtown for 3 years. All right. My parents live up here, and now my new house is right up here, just north of Templewood Park. So I'm very familiar with what we call North Central San Antonio. Not as much as the North Star Mall area or the Alamo Heights area. So I stay kind of in 0600, 1400, and these zones. And I go, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and host an open house in the Churchill zone. I did most of my open houses in the Churchill zone because I felt pretty comfortable with those neighborhoods. All right. So we would just select that one and the new houses. All right. You get to pick. So if you live obviously in a different part of town, you know Helotes is real popular. You live nearby it, go ahead and look for open houses over there. I would not recommend you try to do hosting open houses on the opposite side of town. All right, because in a little bit we're going to talk about how you're going to post signs early in the morning. You're probably going to go home, get ready, and then go back out. So it's just a lot of driving. So kind of find somewhere that you're comfortable with in your zone. This is very important. You want to think about your price points or price points of qualified first-time buyers. All right. When I first started, I would hear agents complain that like, oh yeah, I have these buyers, but they can't get qualified. Oh, you know, all these things that holding me up. And it's like, well, if you're hosting, you know, a house that's $150,000, all right, well, that's attracting a certain type of client that maybe is not financially stable. All right. And it's going to have issues that you're going to hurdles for you to jump over. If somebody is looking at a $250,000 to $400,000 house, they are probably know approximately how much that's going to cost a month. They've probably done their research. They probably know what they can afford, and they probably have some decent financial backing to where they can get qualified, etc. So I've never run into too many issues with getting qualified buyers because I typically try to stay in this price point. All right. Well, most of North Central San Antonio is in this price point. So that's or higher. But if you go higher, I want to talk about this real quick. Let's say you found a beautiful home in your area that you desire, and it's $700,000. My question to you is, a first-time home buyer, what kind of first-time home buyer probably has the money to buy a $700,000 house? Probably very, very few, right? If somebody's buying a $700,000 house, it's probably their second, third, fourth home, all right? And if it's their second, third, fourth home, they probably bought and sold obviously before, and they probably know a realtor or two that helped them buy that house. So more than likely, they're going to come through and be like, blow you off and go, hey, I already have a realtor, et cetera, et cetera. But if we focus on this, hey, there's a lot of first time buyers are in the 250, 300, 350 range, right? Then more than likely, those people that are looking at those houses are not represented by another agent. They're going in there by themselves. They have kind of educated themselves, but they are not working with the agent. And this is the perfect opportunity for you to introduce yourself and become their agent. All right. So when I'm setting up this search, I picked my area. I'm going to put my range of 250 to 400. With price points continuing to go up, I might even push this to 500. All right. So let's just, for shiggles, push it to 500. All right. One more thing on here. This is super important. Like I said, my second one was a terrible experience because it was like in the very back of a neighborhood. You had to turn right, then left, then left, then right, then right to get to the house. And it's like, this is so hard to find. We're not going to get much traffic here. All right. So once I pull that up, I will view the count. There's 10 houses, and we're going to go ahead and see what those houses look like. All right. Not only are we going to see it, I also like to use this button as the map. All right. So if you click on the map, it'll show you where these houses are located in general. All right. Now, if you click on each one, it's going to show you how close they are. For whatever reason, I came up with a rule of thumb. I want something off of Blanco Road, all right, and that's easy to get to. Well, if you're from San Antonio and you know that area, you know Blanco Road is a very busy road, and there's a lot of traffic going up and down it constantly. So if you have open house signs there, getting their attention, hopefully turning into the neighborhood, you're probably going to get a pretty good flow of traffic to your open house, right? So as I click on this in the map, I actually do, before I put this on my list, I will look at the map and go, okay, is it easy to get to? All right, so this one's tucked up in Rhapsody Drive. Pretty familiar. This is a little bit older of a neighborhood in here. So it's not hard to get to, but it's not the easiest house to get to. Here's Blanco Road. Here's Eisenhower. You're familiar with that. Rhapsody is not a super popular exit. So I'm like, maybe not. Let's go to the next one. Same neighborhood, same location. All right. I almost would say that location is even more important than how the house looks. All right. Now, this one is a pretty decent location. Look how close it is off of a main street, Churchill Estates. Here's Blanco Road. So I could post signs right here on this major corner, get them to turn down here a few blocks over, and it's immediately right there. So that might be a good location. All right. So those are some things that I think about when looking for an open house. Of course, you want an attractive house. All right. So look at the pictures. I don't think this is a great first picture. It's kind of hard to see. Sort of pretty, but still not. Yeah. I would probably use this one because it's a little bit lighter. But then I look through the pictures of like, what are the pictures that I can post, and are they attractive to where people go, ooh, I like that house. Tell me more about it. Or maybe I'll go see it in person. All right. So this is a good looking house. It's okay, but it doesn't wow you. All right. It's empty. Nothing really grabs your attention on this house, but it does have a good location. So I might kind of write this down as a maybe. All right. And then here's another one. Location, West Avenue, another busy street. Maybe not, but let's look at the pictures. That's a pretty cute, typical house, all brick. All right, nice granite countertops, open concept, etc. Something that clients and customers might be interested in. All right, kind of standard open concept, newer house, nice covered patio. That's a nice bonus. So that might be a possibility. You know, that would either be on my maybe list or a yes list. All right. As far as picking a house, do we have any questions as to going over any of that or anything? Anybody want to add anything to that? Clay, how did you pick your open houses?
I hear what all you're saying, but I did none of that.
Yeah, it's all good.
So what I did was I just went on the EXP, pages, Facebook and EXP page and in a workplace, and I just requested anybody who had a house, I was willing to do one, and so that's how I got 2 houses, and then the one last weekend I reached out to my friend who was just about to list that house, and I asked her if I could do an open house on it, and so the owner was like, he's with EXP and you're with, I forget who she's with. Anyway, so she was like, Kimberly Howell, and she was like, she told him, she says, look, I trust him. He's really good. So took some pictures, sent it to her so she could send it to the owner, and she was, they were all cool about it, but
Yeah.
and then they asked me to do another one on it this weekend, but
Yeah.
that's kind of how I did mine. But I understand the concept of looking at the price and everything like that. I just kind of wanted to get out there and get some people and get my name and so show my face, and that's kind of why I just initially am taking anything I can get, and then I'm going to reach out to other agents and start narrowing stuff down like you're saying. So
yeah, no, all that's great, and I do want to say this. This is not obviously the only way to get an open house, right? This is just what I've been taught, what I've learned, and what I'm sharing. So yeah, there's multiple ways and different philosophies, and really everything that we do in real estate. So learn from all that and take it in and make it your own. Jim writes here, gated community. I don't worry about that too much. Sometimes it doesn't say if it's gated. I guess if you read up on the MLS, it might say it's gated. You have to do a little bit of research that. Gated community does make it a little bit more difficult, all right, to get in and out of. You got to get the code. Does that turn people off? But I would say that I'm sure some people are attracted to a gated community. All right. So I wouldn't shy away from it if it's a good location and if it's a great looking house and all those things. Check, check, check. If it's in a gated community, I wouldn't write it off. Right. But yeah, it can be a little bit more difficult. So just be aware of that. And hopefully that answers the question. Clay, what's up?
So mine the last weekend was in a gated community up off of Verde Road. But so what the biggest thing that you need to do is make sure that if it's not your listing, that you're asking the listing agent to post on all of the websites when they post the MLS for the open house.
Yep.
They'll post a number on there to the gate for agents, but then on the day before the open house, ask them to go back into Zillow and the other places and put the gate code so that people who don't have agents are able to get in. And that's what we did last weekend.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you had a great relationship with that listing agent and she helped out for sure. So thanks for sharing, for sure. How to get the open house? I thought about Christina here, and I like this old school phone. Some of you probably don't recognize that. But you got to pick up the phone. All right. So we had a list of 10. All right. What I would do is I would pick like my three favorite out of those 10. All right. And I'd go, okay, this is my number one. This is my number two. This is my number three. All right. And I would literally get the phone number off the MLS and call that agent. All right. So let me get rid of this. Right down here, you'll notice Steve Perry is the listing agent for this house. And I clicked him, and that's what he looks like. And there's his direct line. So I would literally pick up the phone and go, hey, Steve, this is Tony Ruiz with eXp Realty. I'm interested in this house that you have listed at Yosemite Way. I was wondering if I could host an open house for you this weekend on Saturday from 1 to 4. What do you think? You know, and he would say, no, go to hell. Or, yeah, man, that sounds great. I appreciate you calling. Or, oh, we have somebody in my office already covering it. Okay, cool, no problem. Let me know if it falls through. I'd be happy to host it for you. So I call them. If they don't answer, because it's just a random number, I do this with my leads and everybody that I talk to. If I call and they don't answer, I immediately text them. And I pretty much say the exact same message in text message. All right. And like within minutes, they typically call back and say, hey, I got your message. Yeah, you're more than welcome to host the open house. I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, or even higher percentage than that, they're going to say yes to you hosting the open house for them. All right. It was a little bit harder this past year to do it, but now that they're coming back more aggressively, you're gonna get them booked. I tried to book mine Tuesday through Thursday. I might start looking at these, making phone calls on Tuesday. I might do it Wednesday. Latest, I try to do Thursday. Sometimes if I don't book anything, or if I forgot to book and I still want to do one, I might call somebody that I know, like Alan, like, hey, can I host your listing this weekend? You know, sometimes you might want to do it sooner, but that's kind of what I recommend. Pick 3 options, and I guarantee you, if you call 3 listings and the listing agents, one of them will say yes. I'd be surprised if you made 3 phone calls and you got 3 no's. So if you really want to host an open house, you'll pick up the phone and make 1 to 3 phone calls, and you'll have a open house to host. Or do what Clay did. Clay went into a Facebook group and just put it out there. Hey, anybody have a listing? I'm willing to host. Trust me, there'll be agents that will be calling you to do that, to do so. I've got a good one. Jason says, who has done an open house for an agent with a different broker? I would say that 99% of the open houses I've done were not EXP. I've heard rumor that EXP you're not supposed to do outside of EXP. Then I've heard that it doesn't matter. They're fine with it. I don't worry about it. The only time I ever see something weird is like when I see that they're with Keller Williams, like Keller Williams Heritage or Keller Williams, the other one, City View. A lot of the times those are being hosted by other agents in Keller Williams because they have such a large office that they pass that down to agents that they know in the office. But besides that, 99% of my open houses were not EXP. And I'm pretty positive that we're allowed to do that. Don't hold me to it, but that's what I've done. Wow. Here's the script for you. Bam, there it is. And I changed it to Banana Street instead of Main Street. That one's for you, Christina. Hey, Steve, this is Tony Ruiz with eXp Realty. How are you doing today? Great, awesome. Hey, I'm calling about your listing at 123 Banana Street. I'm interested in hosting an open house for you on Saturday from 1 to 4. Would you and your sellers be open to that? Awesome. I really appreciate you letting me host it. I'll take care of all of the advertisement on my end. If you don't mind, could you make sure it is posted on the MLS? That would be great. Thanks again. Have a great day. That's pretty much the gist of it. simple conversation. All right, in and out within 2 minutes. All right. So they might have questions for you. They might have, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? It's just a simple conversation, but that's the script. And do whatever you want to do with that script. All right. Tools you will need. All right. Open house signs and flag. So again, the story is that my first couple open houses, I borrowed signs from Mark Chambers. I think Alan Grulick allowed me to borrow some signs as well. But yeah, I just kind of had a hodgepodge of signs and made it happen. After that, I went into MLS and purchased my open house signs. I like the big red and white ones, just the generic that say open house. And then at the bottom, they have like a white section that you can write on. All right. And we'll talk about that in a little bit and how to prep those. All right. But I'll get to that in a second. Sorry. I recommend that you spend a little bit of money. I think I spent like $150 total. And I pretty much had those open house signs for like over a year. So those are good. You'll want to get flyers, which I'll show in a second. Let me go ahead and show those real quick. Let me get to this chat. What are the main reasons they would reject you wanting to have an open house for them? Sometimes sellers don't want people in the wide open without, I don't know. I think it's bizarre, but sometimes sellers are just picky. It's really up to the seller if they want to host an open house or not. Most do. Most people want more eyes on the property. All right. What are the other reasons? Maybe they have family coming over that weekend, or they don't want to get out because they would have to get out of the house for several hours and they have something going on to where they need to be home. So those are the main reasons. And then obviously recently it was like, hey, this house is already under contract in 24 hours and we're moving on. All right. But most of the time, most people are open to it. Don't want people coming through. Agent's an asshole. Yep, that's true. Already have an offer. Bingo. Check, check, check. So in the marketing center, let's talk about flyers real quick. This is EXP's marketing center. They have a lot of different forms and stuff like that are look great, and you just add your information to it. Here's an open house flyer right there. You can customize it. All right, it's already like 98% done. So you click on this, and I'm sure other brokerages have this as well. All right, but you can change that photo to the photo from the MLS. You can change the information here, all this. You can change about the property. Man, Tony looks good there. All right, and then you have your contact information, and you just save this to your desktop and you print it. I usually get like high-end prints at my mortgage company, all right, instead of my lower-end prints at home. I do have a color printer, but it gets like real soggy type on a normal paper. And it doesn't look as crisp as when I get it done at the mortgage office that has a higher end print. So that's what I recommend. And then I also print off the MLS sheets. So you have the MLS here. You can download as a PDF right here. And it has all this information. So I usually have 2 pieces of paper to hand them with information. Also, another one is Canva. Type in real estate open house. You can they have all kinds of different flyers that you can change the colors, change your photo, whatever you want, save it, print it, and that can be your open house flyer, or create your own if you feel like doing so. So that's what I recommend. Sign-in sheet. My first couple times I had people sign in by pen and paper and I couldn't read their handwriting. All right, so I couldn't really contact them. So I switched and I recommend to an iPad. And they mentioned the KV Core Open House app is great. I've used it. I like to use a Google form that I created. Google form, I just put their name, phone number, email address, and are you working with the agent? Yes or no. So that's how they just click, sign in, and submit. And then that way it's documented. And then I move that information over to KV Core. But the KV Core Open House app, which comes with KV Core, will do all that for you. So that's something that you can think about. Yep, and made a squeeze page and landing page, also marketed using Facebook ads to target the local area. Yeah. How much did you spend for that ad, Clay? Huh.
I spent about I put max of $10,
Yeah.
and I probably got 700 people looking at it. So and I spent less than $10, probably like a total of $5 max for each one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's a lot of eyes on it. And you said last week you had about 15 couples per day.
Over probably the 2 day, probably about I had about 10 on the first day and about 7 on the second day. So about 17 total for the 2 days.
So according to Ninja Selling, it's a 1 in 16 ratio. So Ninja Selling says for every 16 people you meet at open houses, you will have a deal. So technically, according to that, you have a deal somewhere in there. Those out of those 17 people, you have at least one deal. So that's kind of cool. So well worth it.
I do. I have that cash buyer guy from California who really wants to offer. He's just waiting.
Yeah. Well, there it is. Is the screen share jacked up? What do you mean? You can't see what I'm doing on the
It's
MLS?
like it's like some of the browser just like stayed on it for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Go. That's
better?
mostly better.
Okay. I always have my laptop. I recommend it, but it's not needed. All right. But you can do work there. Also, I pull up the MLS of other houses in the area to show them. That's always a benefit. I also have Spotify on the playing just background music, all right? Because it gets quiet and awkward when everybody's just like there without any background music. So I recommend that. Refreshments, I would take waters, bottled waters. I've done that. I don't do the whole cookie thing. Sometimes I take the waters. Most of the time I took waters, but more than likely nobody ever took them. So it's not a huge deal. Jim Ragsdale is looking for a deal. Clay, what is your cash buyer's price point? What area of SA?
My cash buyer is in California, and he just doesn't want to be in the same neighborhood as his sisters. So they're the ones who came and scoped out the property. It's in a separate neighborhood from them, but not very far from them on Bulverde Road.
What's the price point?
The price point, the house is $460, but there are some things that are like different about this particular house. They have some selling pieces of furniture and things that they want to sell along with the house. And so this cash buyer is going to offer them above list price because he wants those furniture and pieces that they're wanting to sell with the property. So I think he's probably would go in probably around 470.
Okay. Well, Jim Ragsdale only sells $1 million houses, so I mean, we can't keep up with him. But he has like a $1 million listing right now. So he's looking for
I want one.
So when you come across that $1 million buyer, let him know. Get him to buy 1.4 million.
Got it.
Well, Jim, you need to talk to Christina's dad. He has money, so we'll see if he knows other millionaires. So maybe that's a good connection. Playing music in the background recommended. Welcome sign at the front door. I don't have one, but I've seen them, and they look pretty cute. And I have had that kind of like awkward. Sometimes like you see them walking up, like, oh, somebody's coming, all right, because you're like looking out the window, seeing if anybody's coming. And then they get to the door and they like, do they knock? Do they just walk in? Do they blah, blah, blah? Sometimes I like to even open the door for them. I don't have a welcome sign, but maybe if you're getting busy and you're talking to people inside, a nice welcome sign, like a little chalkboard sign that you can put up, would be like, come on in. That would be nice. Open house prep. I'm going to move a little bit faster here. Design / print your flyers. Kind of showed you a couple things that you can do there. Print your MLS sheet. Prep signs. So my signs are the big red and white ones, and then I print it out on a piece of paper. Sat period 1 to 4 p.m. So it's a real big and bold, so you can see it. I don't put the address on there. I don't put my phone number on there. I don't put any of that on there. I want them to see open house this way, Saturday 1 to 4 p.m. Super clear. That's all they need to know, and they follow the signs. All right. Because you'll start noticing open house signs all over the place. The Remax, real small ones with like all this like handwritten, real small print. Like, the hell does that even say? Like, I'm driving a car and I'm supposed to read that. It's impossible, right? In my opinion. So I just get the big signs with arrows. Saturday 1 to 4, open house, clear, clean, go that way. All right. But I tape those little pieces of paper on there. As they get weathered, I replace them, or I tape them on there because what if I decide to do open house on Sunday? Well, guess what? I have the same thing printed off. Sun period 1 to 4 p.m. So I replace those if I need to. That's how I prep my signs. I post on social media. I haven't paid for advertising like Clay talked about, but hey, I mean, if he got good traffic off of what, $10 that he spent, it's probably worth the $10 that he spent. All right, so that's a good idea. Here's the schedule for the day of the open house. 8 a.m. I put up my signs. 8:30 I grab breakfast tacos for my family. 9 o'clock I hang out, eat my breakfast tacos with my family. 11 o'clock I get in the shower and get dressed. 11:30 I leave. 12 p.m. I plant my flag at the front of the open house, set up for the open house inside. 12:15 I go knock on doors and invite the neighbors to the open house. 1 p.m. I host. 4 p.m. I shut down. 4:15 I pick up signs. 4:30 I head home. So pretty much a 8 to 5 type of gig, and meeting potential buyers. Be on the lookout for neighbors who will steal your signs. I had 3 taken. Yeah, that sucks. And I've had some people put them down or steal them or run them over. Knocking on doors helps. So check this out. One of my most recent open houses, I put them up on Bulverde Road, and I'm driving to the open house going, all right, here we go. All of the signs were gone. Like, I think I had like 8 signs on Bulverde Road. They were all gone. No sign of them. I'm pretty sure the sheriff driving up and down took them down or something. All right. So I was like, well, I'm screwed. Like, there's no signs for this open house. Nobody knows I'm hosting this open house. So I went and knocked on doors, and that was with Christina. She went to go hang out at that one. So I was like, the only way I could get anybody to this open house, besides them seeing it on the MLS or Zillow, is I'm going to have to go knock on doors. Well, guess what? The person across the street, I ended up connecting with, and he's in a rental right now. I got him in a rental. He plans on buying when his credit goes up within a year. So because I made it happen and went and knocked on somebody's door, I picked up a client that's going to turn into a buy at some point. So knocking on doors, I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm team no door knock. Well, we know that. Clay, do you have any Facebook ads for your services targeted in California specifically? Would be interested to see how many leads you could get with all the people from California. Yeah, I don't know much about the Facebook ad stuff. Clay, are you pretty familiar with all the Facebook ad stuff?
I think I'm pretty savvy. I've gotten pretty savvy with it. So my ads aren't targeted to anybody in California. The ad doesn't go there. That the ads target, you could target them, but It really doesn't work like that. What you want to do is you're targeting, you could put San Antonio in there, and then you can put, and then you can put uh, the area around the home, which is, and then it'll go out 15, you can put a subdivision, different things like that. But, and that's how it kind of grabs people. And so what I do is I put San Antonio, and then I put Bear County that way. And then it goes out 15 miles outside of that radius. So those two kind of areas. So kind of everybody in San Antonio, Bear County. If it's closer to Guadalupe County, I'll put Guadalupe County, Bear County, and whatever surrounds that area, like Cibolo Shirts area. I'll put all of those counties right there in that little triangle, Comal, whatever. And it targets all of those people that live in that area. So if they start searching for homes, it'll be one of the first ones that'll pop up as an open house.
I like it. Clay, you're going to teach us, you're going to do one of these trainings on Facebook ads. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, for sure.
The reason why I'm asking that is because I took a class on that. I think Christine actually took the same course on that, and so I'm pretty familiar with like how it works. But I'm just wondering how you can apply that to like this, like specifically. And since there's just so many people from California that are moving here, I just was wondering if it'd be worth it to like have ads like over there, basically saying like, hey, if you're moving to Texas, like hit me up. You know what I mean? I don't know if it'd be worth it to like set up something like that just to get more California leads. I know, I don't want to get too off topic, but this is some of the stuff that I've already been kind of like questions to ask and stuff like that. I'm just generating leads from, especially from California. I mean, like they just tend to have more money out there, and then they want to move to somewhere cheaper. So I'm sure that was a reason why they paid cash. So I just was wondering.
Yeah, I've heard of other agents doing that. I don't know what their success was with that, but I know it can be done. But it's just, is it worth it? Not sure. So we'll have that conversation at some other point for sure.
Yeah, you can target anyone. So in any place in the country. So, so it can be done.
Yeah, I've used it with music related stuff, just not with real estate. So that's why I just was asking. So thank you.
Cool. How to host the open house. This is just a quick rundown, but greet and welcome the customers at the door. Usually a smile will get a smile back. Some people are just rude, so just take it for what it is. Give them a brief introduction and the handouts that you printed, right? So like one of my goals was to whatever I printed, I usually took like 10 MLS sheets and 10 flyers, right? And I'm like, I'm trying to get rid of all 10 of these. That would be awesome. And of course, on there's my contact information. Some people are not going to want to sign in, all right? And we'll talk about that in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. But introduce them like, hey, welcome to this house. This is a 3-bed, 2-bath. It's 1850 square feet. The master's back here on the right. Check out the pool in the back. It's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Give them a quick overview. Take a look around and send them on their way. All right. And then try to get them to sign in. That's the most important thing. Like, it's great that you have 15 people come in, but if only 2 signed in, then really you only have 2 contacts, right? Those people came in and out, and you didn't get any contact information. The way that I get them to sign in with the correct information is I offer a Starbucks giveaway, Starbucks card that I'm going to go, hey, by signing in, you're entering a drawing for the Starbucks card, which will be given away at the end of the day. Well, 9 times out of 10, if they know that they could possibly win something, they're probably going to put their right contact information down. So I feel like I've gotten pretty good contact information. Of course, every now and then you will get somebody just putting BS information in there, and you just move on to the next, right? Ask them questions, what brings them in today? Or have they been looking for a while for a house? Are they just getting started? Just that one question right there will probably give you an idea of like if they're working with an agent or not. If they've been looking a while, then they're probably, with an agent. If they're like, oh no, we're just started, we just live down the street, we're renting. Oh, cool. Now you know their motivation. All right. Are you currently renting, or do y'all have a house to sell? You'd be surprised at how many people walk into open house and go, "Oh, I got to sell my house." That's two deals right there. That's a very important person that you need to make sure you stay in contact with. What are you looking for in a home? This goes back to finding the criteria, right? And so that you can help them find that home that they're looking for. All right. So you just start asking more questions and listening more. Don't go in like, this house has attic insulation and this house has this and this house. Like, you're probably not going to sell that house that you're hosting. The whole object of hosting open house is to meet people and get their criteria and get their contact information. That is the main purpose. Now, of course, if somebody walks in and says, "Hey, I want to put an offer on this house," signed up, all right? Stop what you're doing and get them signed in, all right? But 99% of the time, you're just trying to meet more people at open houses and get criteria and get contact information. Show them other houses in the area. So you're hosting this house in Stone Oak that's in the price point of 400 to 500. Well, guess what? I'm going to pull up a search before I go to the open house of all the other houses that are in that same criteria. So they go, "Oh, you don't really like this one? Oh, you wish it had a fourth bedroom? Well, hey, I'll tell you what. Look, I have 5 others that have 4 bedrooms. All right. And 2,500 square feet. Would you like to go see those at 4:30? I'm done here at 4. We can go see them if you like, since you're already out looking at houses, right? Oh yeah. So give them more selection to choose from. Easy to do, just being prepared. And then I always like to take mental notes of names, family members. Oh, they were the ones with the kids. Oh, they talked about a dog. And then I'll literally write those down in my notes so that when I call them up, I'll be like, "Clay, how's the wine business going? You mentioned that you're opening up you're buying land and doing this. So that's great." And if you can connect one thing that they said when they met you, they're going to think that you are so damn impressive. Like, holy shit, this guy is all over it. So you made a massive impact, and that's going to hook them and go, "This guy's awesome. Like, I want to work with this guy." All right. How to follow up? Let me check the chat real quick. Ask for yep. What does this say? Move. Choose it. What is going on? There we go. Multiple companies that you can use that work with your biz account on Facebook and target ads. Send me a message and I'll shoot Jason Ward a message. We'll get y'all in contact. I think he knows Facebook ad stuff. How to follow up. Pretty much afterwards, it's all about the follow-up. I started implementing this of sending a text message like when I got home. When I got home, right around dinner time or so, "Hey, Clay, it was great meeting you and your wife. Thanks for coming into the open house today. Hope you have a great week." Boom, send. That's it. Not in like, "Hey, do you want to buy? Hey, are you ready? Are you working with an agent?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, just say, "Thanks for coming out. It was great meeting you. Have a good one." Right? It's just another connection piece. Send them similar houses in that area. So you already found like the 10 other houses that match the criteria. Send it to them. Send it and say, "Hey, these are other similar properties compared to the open house. Let me know if you see any that you'd like to go see them." Cool. All right. Set them up on a search. I always set everybody up on an automatic search because for the next 3 months, they're getting houses sent to them, their email with my face attached to it. All right. So for 3 months, they pretty much are getting stuff from me every single day. Add them on social media, depending on how that went. That's optional. I've done that usually as it progresses into a client experience. And then follow up based on how hot they are, right? And you kind of have to continue to ask more questions. Are these people cash buyers ready to buy within a couple weeks, like the guy that Clay met? Or are these like, "Hey man, my lease isn't up until next March and I can't get out of that." And okay, cool, no problem. Guess what? I need a payday next March as well. So it's my job to stay in touch with you, and you let me know if anything changes. And you don't wait on them. You need to stay in contact with them between now and next March to make sure that that happens. All right. So did go over a little bit. Do we have any questions on that? All of these topics, I mean, we could go deep, 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 deep into. All right, but this gives you a general idea of how to find it. You know, how to prep, what you need, what kind of questions, and that's the general idea. I remember that I had my laptop up and I had like a list of 5 questions uh, in my first open houses because I didn't know what to ask. So, like in between people coming in, I had to like study those questions and like, oh, I'm going to ask that question, and oh yeah, I need to make sure I ask that question. And you will mess up, and then you'll learn from it, and you'll get better. But bottom line is getting out there and doing it is really the only way to make that happen. All right. So, any questions at this point? Cool. Well, Clay, good luck with your open house and your new clients. All right. See, I keep on looking at your name and I don't know how. Sarek.
Sarek.
Sarek. I'm terrible. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm familiar with some of you guys, but thanks for having me, and I appreciate it. And again, I'm almost done with all my coursework, so thanks for having me come to this. It was really cool. Learned a lot.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, good luck with all that. And closing day for Christina. Chuck is here. Thanks for being here, man. It looks like you're working. Yeah, cool. And Jim, the doctor, Dr. Rags. Well, thanks, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be posting this up here later in the Productive Agents group. Y'all have a good one.